Hello, fellow Americans. This is Mr. Steffler coming to you from room 111. And I'm here today to talk about tomorrow's quiz, the last quiz of the marking period, very important quiz. And it's going to be about the 7 principles of the Constitution. So we're going to go through all 7 of those. We are going to give some examples of those, and then I hope that you, put these examples into some notes or into some flashcards. I hope you spend a couple hours studying for this, and I hope you come through and do a really great job on tomorrow's quiz. So let's start out with the 7 principles of the Constitution. First, we have republicanism, popular sovereignty, federalism, checks and balances, separation of powers, limited government, and individual rights. So we're going to talk about each one of those things as to what they are and what are some examples that are about them. First of all, let's talk about popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty is the act of voting and majority rules, and we use this analogy in class about voting for whether we're going to get bagels or whether we're going to get donuts. If you voted for donuts and bagels wins, you're not getting a donut, you're getting a bagel. Okay, and so we have set down this this idea of majority rules through popular sovereignty. And this way, the people feel like they are part of the government. Because, we know that the Constitution starts out with we the people. The next of the 7 principles is republicanism. Republicanism has nothing to do with being a Republican or not being a Republican. It just has to do with the fact that our country is set up as a republic, not a democracy. We send people to our capital to vote for us that represent us. We have taxation with representation in this country. And so republicanism is, for example, like when Mr. Hamden comes on 6th Hour and says, send one representative from your class to pick up these flyers, that is kind of an example of republicanism, where you send a representative. That means we have representative government. The next of these topics that we're going to talk about is federalism. Federalism is kind of, it's hard because it's an ism. You have republicanism, you have federalism. You got to know the difference. But basically, federalism says that the national government, our nation, has some duties and some requirements for their government. And then each state has some duties and requirements that are required of the states. That's why we have a governor and a president. So let's say a hurricane strikes Florida. The governor is going to call the president, and the governor and the president are going to coordinate. The governor knows what is needed. The president has all the stuff, and the two have to work together. They share power on some things. So federalism is not to be confused with separation of powers. Federalism is the federal government has some powers, and the state government has some powers, and some powers like taxation, they share. Okay, so moving on to separation of powers. I think that this is the thing that we probably know best. We understand best. We have a 3-branch government. We chop the government up so it doesn't become too powerful. And this is an example. This chopping up of the government, the 3-branch system, is separation of powers. Like all money bills start in the House of Representatives. That is separation of powers. The president controls the military. That is separation of powers. Each part of the government has a different duty. We also have checks and balances. Checks and balances are the specific powers that the government has over other parts of the government. For example, a presidential veto of a bill is a check of the executive branch on the legislative branch. Like the judicial branch saying a law is unconstitutional is a check on the legislative branch. So we have to understand that the different branches have different checks against each other, and we have to know what those checks are. They're like defenses. Checks are like the different parts of the government can check each other. Also, we have a limited government. Both checks and balances and separation of powers kind of contribute to limiting the power of the government. It also has to do with if someone in the government commits a crime, they have to answer for the same punishment as everybody else, supposedly. So that's supposed to be equal justice under law, even for the people who are even for the people who are very powerful. Even the president has to follow the law. And the last thing that is on this test has to do with individual rights, going to a protest, keeping a gun in your house, having the right to an attorney. All these things are in the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was added at the end of the Constitution to help the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists make a compromise. The Anti-Federalists did not want to pass the Constitution without this Bill of Rights, so it was added. So the Bill of Rights has amendments 1 through 10, 10 being powers of the state, 9 being powers of the individual. We're going to go through this next week. We're going to go through each of these amendments in the amendment process. I'm telling you, you're going to need to really study this stuff. You're going to need to write down what I have listed here as what's going to be on the test and make some note cards for yourself. It's going to take some time to study. So that's basically a wrap. God bless you. God bless America. Boom. Okay, so that's a 6-minute long video. What's up, dude? All this time to borrow a Chromebook?
I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on a roll.
Well, if you would have interrupted me, I would have had to start over again because I don't have, one of the things that I don't have on this computer is the ability to pause a video and then continue recording in that spot. I know how to do it. Yes, you can borrow it. Yes, go ahead. What class are you from, by the way? Okay. That was pretty funny. Who else is in that class? How many kids are in that class?
12.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now the video is done. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to put the video on. Do you have to what? I didn't understand. Do you have to what? Do I have to post a video? Oh, no. You just have to have the video for me. You don't have to post a video because some of your parents probably don't want you on, like, YouTube or whatever. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. It's like I'm right there and it's like I'm right here. Oh, my God. This is awesome. There's 2 of me. If only this was real.
There's 3.
Dude. Holy smokes. This is awesome, man. Hey, there's plenty of Steffler to go around. Okay, so. Oh, wait.